Vladimir Putin comes to the rescue of Cuba as Donald Trump in the United States is doing everything they can to destroy Cuba and leave as many dead Cubans as possible. This comes as the United States engages in a completely illegal blockade of Cuba, blocking all oil and energy imports from coming into the country. And Donald Trump is threatening any country that will come to the aid of Cuba with economic retaliation and increased tariffs. But Putin was like, I don't give a fuck. Hey, Cuba, I got you, homie. Because Russia already sanction-proofed their economy. Since Russia is not worried about United States economic threats, they are now providing energy and financial support to the island of Cuba while they're under massive assault by the genocidal West. In addition, Russia cancels $30 billion of Cuban debt, the same thing they did last decade when they canceled around $32 billion. Russia consistently stands in solidarity with the Cuban people. The United Nations consistently, overwhelmingly votes in favor of condemning United States economic warfare against Cuba. You want to know the only country who continue to vote alongside the United States? Israel. Interesting, isn't it? The United States and Israel is the new axis of evil who consistently votes against food being a human right. This is why liberals can never convince me to hate Vladimir Putin and Russia, especially since their number one enemy is ran by child-torturing pedophiles who conspire behind the scenes to destabilize the world so they can profit from it. The UK government is on the verge of collapse as the Epstein files continue to rock Western governments. Keir Starmer is taking massive heat because he appointed Peter Mandelson as ambassador to Washington, despite knowing his close ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Keir Starmer tried to explain everything to the British Parliament, and then they proceeded to tear his ass up.
I am asking the Prime Minister something very specific, not about the generalities of the full extent. Can the Prime Minister tell us, did the official security vetting he received mention Mandelson's ongoing relationship with the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein?
Prime Minister.
Yes, it did.
Mr. Speaker, I think it is shocking what the Prime Minister has just said.
Keir Starmer is cooked, man. His government was already tarnished by low approval ratings. Now the populace is out for his blood now that he's been complicit with the Epstein crew. Because what do you mean you gave him an extremely influential position in the government despite knowing that he had close ties to a pedophile? Never again will Western governments be able to lecture the global South about human rights and corruption. Now Keir Starmer is facing massive pressure from his party and calls for him to resign. It's also noteworthy that Peter Mandelson was one of the biggest haters of Jeremy Corbyn and did everything he could to tank and undermine his movement. Isn't it interesting how all the pedophiles and their enablers that was exposed in the Epstein files are also the biggest haters of socialism?
What's poppin'? My friends, my family. You know I'm always in the lab cooking. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you guys something. Bro, this week, we've been eating good, fam. Like, bro, we're eating good. The Nick Cruz, tanky community. This is the time we've been vindicated. And Western governments are being absolutely rocked by the Epstein scandal. If you haven't been following what's going on in the UK, man, you're missing out. Bro, they have police raids. Keir Starmer was betrayed by his own government. Now they're going to release all the information, like all the messages that Mandelson had with Epstein, all the messages that he had with Keir Starmer in the UK government. And Keir Starmer and the very few amount of allies he have left will make an argument like, guys, we can't release this. You guys you have no idea what you're doing. This will cause massive embarrassment for the UK government. They was begging them not to release the communication between Peter Mandelson and Jeffrey Epstein because it will cause unbelievable damage to national security. So, fam, we have been eating good, and the feast has only just begun, my friends. Because as they got police raids going on in the UK, you have executives and highest levels of companies that are being forced to resign. You guys notice how absolutely nothing like this is happening in the United States? Isn't that sad? And you guys know how much I despise the fascist UK government. But what does that say about the United States? That shit is popping off in the UK, but nothing is happening here. Who is this guy? This guy is I guess he's part of the opposition, but let's hear what he had to say about Keir Starmer. This pretty much sums up the mood in the UK after the release of the Epstein files.
On the day that Jeffrey Epstein was released from prison for having been in jail for paedophilia, he received an email from Peter Mandelson saying, and I quote, "Liberation Day." Keir Starmer chose to ignore the advice of security services and make this man Britain's ambassador to the United States. Yes, for sure, Peter Mandelson almost certainly deserves to be in jail, but the buck stops with the executive. Keir Starmer is a disgrace to his office and should resign.
He said Keir Starmer is a disgrace to his office and that he should resign. Is he though? Is he though? How many prime ministers have resigned over the last 5 years? I'm actually curious. How many prime ministers UK resigned? Like, there was Liz Truss. You guys remember Liz Truss was there for like 12 days? Bro, you had Boris Johnson, Liz Truss, Theresa May, David Cameron. I'll show you guys the search I just did. So he's like, man, you bring shame upon the prime minister office. Sam, there's no less prestigious leadership position than the prime minister of the UK. The prime minister of the UK is a complete joke, a complete Israeli puppet. We know that the UK is a state that is run by capitalist dictatorship. Yeah, Boris Johnson, Liz Truss, who lasted like a few weeks. So I don't know why they're talking about like this is a shame on the office of the UK. No, I think this is pretty standard. Like, if you're gonna ask me like why I think about the UK, but this is pretty standard. Yeah, we're eating good, my friends. What's popping? This has been a very fun week. Our numbers are up too, man. We finally hit 8K. It's been a grind, but my numbers on X, my numbers on all my social media are through the roof right now because I think a lot of people will realize that. Man, the tankies were right the whole time. Man, Nick Cruz was right the whole time. Because you want to know who did a hotspot video about the possibility that Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself? I did. You want to know who questioned the narrative about the Jeffrey Epstein suicide from day one? I did. And I don't know like classism or whatever, but people think I just say shit for clicks. But over time, I've been vindicated on so many issues, and this is another one of them. Because I never bought into the bullshit fear-mongering over conspiracy theories. So I'm going to play this video first. Let's listen to the goddamn GOAT. The only person that you don't know, Chomsky is dead. Sorry, Aaron Mate. I'm sorry, Aaron. I'm sorry, guys. But Noam Chomsky is dead. As an intellectual thinker, Michael Prince is dead, but he is now immortalized. One is alive, but his legacy is dead. One is dead, but his legacy is more alive than ever before. So let's play this clip of Michael Prince talking about conspiracy theories and how it was weaponized by the ruling class. Because as I show you guys our main story, as I show you guys what's been rocking the internet, the very, very strong possibility that Jeffrey Epstein is still alive. I want you to keep in mind that I'm not trying to influence the way you think. It's 100% okay to take the information I'm giving you and come to a different conclusion. But I think in the modern age, for anyone to dismiss any sort of conspiracy theory, you have to be unironically low IQ or complicit to still believe that. If you still are not full-blown conspiracy theorists. So here's Michael Prenti.
Conspiracy theory is a term that's used whenever anybody ascribes conscious intent to people with power. So I can say to you that school teachers are concerned about their salaries, and they're organizing, and they're threatening a strike, and they're pressuring. I can say to you that farmers are doing this and looking for subsidies and facing certain policies. But the minute I say to you that the very people at the top, the plutocracy, the very rich and powerful, the ones who own most of America, that they are consciously pursuing power and wealth, someone will come along and say, what do you have, a conspiracy theory? Or they'll say, oh, you're cynical or you're paranoid. Their view is that stuff just happens. Things just happen, unintended consequences, or our leaders are stupid and they're jerks, or they're confused and they don't know any better. And of course, the critic knows much better than everybody else. People who operate in this world operate with intent. There's no such thing as imperialism without imperialists. There's no such thing as capitalism without capitalists. There's no such thing as rulers who are somnambulists who walk around in their sleep. You watch out for your interests. You watch out and you make calculations. What makes you think that David Rockefeller doesn't? What makes you think that the people at the top don't do it? And what makes you think they don't collude and organize? Oh, what do you think? You have a group of people who sit around in a room and they plan this? And I always say, oh no, God, they don't sit around in a room. They meet on carousels and they go up and down in merry-go-rounds, or they meet skydiving. They hold hands and they argue. Of course, they sit in rooms. Where the hell else are they going to meet?
You guys see the difference between the truth that Michael Prenti says and compared to what Noam Chomsky says. Noam Chomsky was always the person who dismissed the idea of conspiracy theorists. He was one of the main people who floated the idea that things happen. All the capitalists, they have similar interests, so they move like a hive mind with no communication. That's generally what he outlined in Manufacturing Consent. He like, guys, when he wrote Manufacturing Consent, he was like, guys, there's no big conspiracy. They just know, like, they have this reflective muscle. They all can communicate with each other. And if you don't know, if you don't have the telepathy to understand how you're supposed to move, then that would get rid of you. And there is some truth in that. But you got to see how the overall suitable left position was to dismiss conspiracy of the ruling class. And anyone who study history know that the history of humanity is the history of conspiracy theorists. Conspiracy theory. Kings conspiring with lords. Churches conspiring with states. That's human history. The people who shoo conspiracy theories, the ones who are not just outright ops, these are the people who tend to be the least informed about history. Because if you study history, you know that conspiracy and these kind of actions happen all the time. And to me, it makes 100% sense that the Mossad and the intelligence agencies, which we know Jeffrey Epstein was a part of, it makes 100% sense that Jeffrey Epstein, who said he was representing the Rothschilds who controlled the West, that the Rothschilds wouldn't want to murder their own employee after everything they've done. Now, this is not a new position for me. We've got some more information. We got some more clarification because I had a hotspot video I did last year discussing this. I'm gonna show you guys the old tweet. Actually, let me see if I can find it. Cause I'm like, bro, well, that's my hotspot. I had a tweet from like 2009. I had a tweet from 2019, bro. I was like, bro, this shit is obviously bullshit. And now there are online detectives that confirmed that Epstein had a gaming account on Fortnite. He had a Rocket League account that was still active after he passed away, after he was apparently committed suicide in his cell. So I called bullshit on this story from the very beginning. This is my hotspot I released last year. Try to see if I can find that tweet. I thought I saved it. Let me show you guys. I guess I'll find it while this video plays. So this is a hotspot video I made last year. If you follow my work closely, I know we got a lot of new people subscribed to our channel now. I got a lot of new people following my work right now. This may be new to you, but this is what I recorded last year, just exploring the implausibility of Jeffrey Epstein killing himself while he's on suicide watch. Now, comparing this with all the new information we have posts from the 4chan prison guard who was then tracked down by FBI. He was IP traced, named and listed in the Epstein file, which pretty much confirms the 4chan post where they said that Jeffrey Epstein was swapped out. But all right, I'll get to that later, but let's watch this video. This is what I did last year, just to let you guys know how obvious, at least to me, that Epstein didn't kill himself. And now we got even more vindication. So let's play the video and I'll be right back.
The Trump administration is still playing dumb with the public regarding Jeffrey Epstein, as Kash Patel still tries to sell the idea that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself.
Did Jeffrey Epstein hang himself, or did somebody kill him?
Senator, I believe he hung himself in a cell in the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Are you going to release all the information about that?
Senator, we are working through that right now with the Department of Justice.
When do you think you'll have it done, Cash?
I think in the near future, sir.
Like before I die?
Senator, we've been working on that, and
how dumb does the Trump administration think we are? Jeffrey Epstein was put on suicide watch, where he wore nothing but paper and he lived in a short ceiling cell. In this situation, it should be impossible for Jeffrey Epstein to kill himself. But wait, it gets even dumber. As a high-profile prisoner on suicide watch, Jeffrey Epstein had a security guard watching him 24/7. But when Jeffrey Epstein killed himself, the security guard took an unsanctioned break. Okay, but surely they got the security footage of Jeffrey Epstein killing himself, right? Nope. Because according to the prison, the security footage of Jeffrey Epstein killing himself was erased by a technical error. Get the fuck out of here. Who believes this nonsense? So ask yourself, why is the Trump administration trying to sell the American people on this ridiculous story? Why is the Trump administration protecting the Jeffrey Epstein clients? It's been weeks since the Trump administration said they would release the Epstein files. Now we have Pam Bondi that said that the FBI is diligently going through the Epstein files right now. Why is the FBI going through the Epstein files instead of releasing it to the public and going after the pedophiles and such criminals responsible? It's because the Trump administration is protecting pedophiles and rapists in order to shield Donald Trump and Elon Musk, who was implicated. It's because the Trump administration doesn't want to expose Jeffrey Epstein as an agent of the Mossad who teamed up with the ruling class to engage in deviant sex acts and massive blackmail schemes.
So I called this a year ago, back when I used to call him Epstein. Epstein, who like preteens. Look, creepy fuck. Now the questions I was asking last year, that I've been asking ever since this story started. You guys see how those lazy hacks in the corporate media is just now getting to this? Here's from CBS News, who entered Epstein's jail tier the night of his death. Newly released video logs appear to contradict official accounts, because there's reports that when they look at the footage now, it appears to be an orange dot that is entering Epstein's cell. And there's happenings at the prison that doesn't match the official narrative at the time. Look, this is what I mean. Newly released Department of Justice documents show that investigators reviewing the surveillance footage from the night of Jeffrey Epstein's death observed an orange color shape moving up a staircase toward the isolated locked tier where his cell was located. So now you guys are asking these questions? Now it's becoming overwhelming? Now that the horrific reality it's possible now that all the memers was proven correct. There was a meme for years. Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. Now people are realizing that there was truth to that. So this is CBS acknowledging that there's some shadiness going on. I knew that there was shadiness going on for years. So now let's show you guys the newest evidence that many online detectives noticed. Because in the Epstein files, it is revealed that Jeffrey Epstein has a YouTube account called Little St. Jeff 1. Now remember that name. Little St. Jeff 1 is Jeffrey Epstein's YouTube account. So online sleuths, here it is. This is the name that Jeffrey Epstein liked to use. He used it on Yahoo. He used it on Google. This is a very well established online alias for Jeffrey Epstein. Is Little Jeff ST1, or it could be Little Jeff without a number, depending. But here's the tweet from RT, and I'll explain more. Epstein is alive and plays Fortnite in Israel. I'm so vindicated, never playing Fortnite. I'm like that gamer elitist. I'm like, man, play a real shooting game. Play fucking Battlefield, motherfucker. This fucking pedophile fuck. Of course he like Fortnite. Leave Fortnite to the goddamn children. He playing with children. Probably cuts them out. Fantasizing about what he want to do with them. Play fucking Battlefield, bitch. The fuck you doing? Playing Fortnite for? I'm vindicated because I know I'm never part of this community, bro. But look at this. Online sleuths claim that Fortnite account Little St. Jeff 1 linked to Epstein stayed active in his 2019 death, buying V-Bucks and later showing Israel as his location. The account, this is what crazy, because as everyone was digging all this information up about this account and the fact that it was active after Epstein's death, then they panicked and the account was set to private. Bro, what? The fact that they set to private after people start looking into this, to me, I think that's a damning smoking gun. They like, bro, hold up. They're starting to catch on. Because they have Fortnite trackers. And I've been reading a lot about this. I'm not a Fortnite player. But Fortnite has been a game for a very long time. If you don't know, they have different seasons that matches, and you can easily match the season with the date that was played. Like they'll have season 1, chapter 2, season 1, chapter 9, chapter 2, season 5. And they're noticing that the account that is associated with Jeffrey Epstein was active after his death. But not only that, you want to know what's also extremely damning about this story? That if you want to say that, oh, this is just some random guy who planned a prank, why was the account that many people believe belonged to Jeffrey Epstein, why did it go silent during 2019? What happened in 2019? In 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was in prison. And this is easily verifiable. Look, the play history for that account, which has now been made private, show a drop-off only once. Only one drop-off. And it corresponds exactly when Epstein was in prison in 2019. This motherfucker is alive, playing Fortnite and Rocket League in Tel Aviv. There are many reasons for Israel to burn, but Israel needs to burn for sheltering this motherfucker. And it's clear that many people was right about the Jewish supremacist intentions for a state of Israel. It's not just about having a Jewish land. That's why when people would ask me, like, do you think the Jewish people deserve a country? No, I don't support ethno states, period. I don't support theocracies, period. But you got me fucking twisted if you think I'm going to support a state for the Jewish people. And the Jewish people is using this state as a way to provide safe haven for their criminals. So the modern Jewish state of Israel is an international criminal cabal where people will seek the right of return so they don't have to face the consequences of their crimes back home. That's why there's an epidemic of Israeli tourists around the world engaging in rape. That's why Israeli tourists come to the United States, rape Americans, and then they leave and use the right of return to go back to Israel. But people like Bernie Sanders believe that this criminal cabal rape state deserves to exist. This is the more evidence my friend Robert posted, and I remember this clearly at the time. These are the photos of the dead body released, which originally raised a ton of questions because the guy on the right is clearly not Jeffrey Epstein. One thing that people will bring up is how every single person has a very unique pattern for their ears. I was reading analysis how someone was explaining how everyone has a different ear outlining and shape and pattern, the same way that everyone has a different fingerprint. And if you look at the dead Epstein that they released and they wanted us all to see, it's clear that he has a different ear pattern than Jeffrey Epstein. That was one of the many details that conspiracy theorists will hatch onto, to explain how, hey man, I don't think this guy is dead. So people are putting these two together. There are posts that show how Epstein's email was active after the time of their death. There's so many smoking guns. There's the 4chan post of the prison guard explaining how he was swapped out. Here's another one, another receipt I'm gonna pull up for you guys. Say, look, and this is according to CBS. The noose allegedly used by Epstein has never been identified, per CBS, with the noose collected at the scene later determined not the ligature used. Like, bro, what? So there was a noose on the scene they were like, this is not what Epstein used. And the question that anyone should be asking is how to even get a noose while on suicide watch. You guys know where cameras is on 24/7? You're supposed to have a prison guard watching the cell, and they said he broke protocol and just so happened to take a break at the time when he was murdered. They cover it up in paper that doesn't even have the foundational strength to maintain the human body weight. So you need a very strong noose. You need material that you need that's strong enough to uphold the human body weight. So that way you can strangle yourself using gravity. So when people are on suicide watch, you are given nothing but paper. You got like a paper gown. The sheets are made of paper. Material that is not strong enough to hang someone. Not only that, when you're on suicide watch, the roofs are short. So you don't even have the leverage needed to hang a human body. But despite all these well-known common sense facts, you want to know what the ruling class told us, and you want to know what the corporate media accepted as fact without even questioning it? Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein managed to do the impossible and hang himself in a suicide-shielded cell. And the obvious questions, if you believe the official narrative that people should have, there should be a massive investigation on how that's even possible. Let's say if you believe the official narrative that Epstein committed suicide, and let's say you're part of the prison industrial complex. Let's say you're part of maintaining the suicide watch program. Wouldn't you be interested in studying the Epstein case, reviewing the footage, and wondering how he committed suicide so you can prevent future prisoners from following the Jeffrey Epstein pattern? Because if Jeffrey Epstein managed to kill himself in these circumstances, he just did something that scientists and researchers believed was scientifically impossible. So if he did something that changes our entire beliefs on physics, human biology, shouldn't this warrant an investigation? Like, bro, he committed suicide in the suicide watch stuff. We got to figure out how this happened so this will never happen again. They did none of that. No investigations, nothing to see here. And no one was skeptical of this. The fact that it was ever just a conspiracy theory is maddening to me. Let me see if I can find. This is now I'm gonna show you guys the counter argument, which to me, when I see this makes me way more suspicious. And this has made Twitter way more suspicious. Because the theory have been spread so far, fast and aggressive, and the panic has been palpable, knowing that this criminal scum is still on the streets, that Fortnite, the official account for Fortnite. Oh, let me read this. Let me read the chat. This is a good chat. No, Nick, you don't wear paper. I don't know why I read that. I saw an interview with this guy, and this is the source it came from me. This guy. Anyway, I listen to your comment. Nick, they don't wear paper, but you do only get paper utensils for eating, like those paper ice cream cup spoons and green smock or turtle suit. Impossible to hang yourself with. Yeah, I take your word for it. Maybe I'm misremembering. The source I used that where I was getting this information was a prisoner who was part of the high. I didn't find this interview. It was years ago. It'd be so hard to find this. There was an interview with this guy who was part of the same prison system that Jeffrey Epstein was a part of. And he understood what suicide watch was. And this prisoner was like, man, I was in this facility. I know the regulations. There's no way this man killed himself. That's why I'm getting it, but you might be right, Big Kirk. Maybe I should look for some more comments. Yeah, they want you to believe he hung himself with toilet paper. But anyway, Fortnite had to release this statement because, bro, this theory was spreading everywhere because it's so damning. And this is all confirmed by the Epstein files. And not like just one piece of evidence. It's so many slices of evidence. So Fortnite got the call. Like, bro, what is this? Fortnite got the call, and they posted this under one of the viral tweets that's now deleted because there's so many viral tweets covering it. This is one of many, and Fortnite decided to comment on this. And many people who play Fortnite was like, "Bro, this is pretty crazy." Fortnite never comments on stuff like this. But I guess it would be bad PR if it came out that Fortnite was a safe haven for Jeffrey Epstein and pedophiles. One more thing I want to say before I read Fortnite's explanation here. One of the reasons why it's extremely plausible that Epstein was part of Xbox Live, Fortnite, we know he's part of Rocket League, because it is known, and the CIA and FBI wrote reports about this, how pedophiles and sex traffickers and other criminals as well, they will also use game chats and party chats as a way to coordinate criminal behavior because they're not easily tracked. This is something I heard. So Epstein was, and there's a lot of evidence that he was a recluse gamer in a lot of ways. But it's also possible that the reason why they was on Xbox Live, and this was another way they can have communications with their fellow pedophile human traffickers with less overhead, especially when you run shit like Epstein. That's just one theory. Once again, as I go through this story, guys, I am not telling you guys how to think. I think in the modern age, we all should embrace the idea of putting theories together of the ruling class conspiring. That is what a conspiracy theory is. Like, even the name doesn't even sound bad to me. Like, we know the CIA wants to demonize conspiracy theory, but just take the word itself, conspiracy theory. It's a theory of the people in the ruling class conspiring. Or honestly, it's anyone conspiring. So if I present you all this information, I lay out all the arguments that I'm going to lay out, and your response is, hey, Nick, I don't buy it. I think Jeffrey Epstein did kill himself. I believe the official narrative. I may think you're a rube, but that's your right. I'm not telling you how to think. I just wanted to lay out the evidence, which is the job of a citizen journalist, which is the job as a journalist as a whole. But you notice how in the West, there is zero intellectual curiosity over these kind of things, which I think is damning, and exactly why I got into citizen journalism in the first place. The fact that no journalist in the corporate media was asking these questions about how it's possible that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. In fact, not only did they not do that, they attacked the idea. They attacked the idea that Epstein killed himself. If you believe that Epstein killed himself, you will be banned and blacklisted from corporate media gigs. So you guys feel how I take the exact opposite approach, and I always took the exact opposite approach. The mainstream corporate journalists, what people think are legit, they never connect dots. They're never here to make conclusions based on information. They're here to be extremely skeptical of anything that challenges power. And what we're going to do the exact opposite. Before I continue, let's read the super chat. Thank you for $10. Israel has created a safe place for criminals. You nailed it. Yep. I've been saying that for years. Zoya's love. How long have I been saying that, Zoya? That Israel is essentially a colony where pedophiles can use the right of return to go back home. I'm glad I'm being vindicated. Like a lot of things that people are just now discovering and things I've been saying, things that me and Zoya have been saying on our channel for years. All right, let's get into this explanation by Fortnite, which I think makes it even more suspicious now. I'm even more suspicious of this story after seeing this denial by Fortnite, believe it or not. Hey, official Fortnite here. This was a ruse by a Fortnite player. A few days ago, an existing Fortnite account owner changed their username from something totally unrelated to Little ST Jeff 1. Fam, I have been a gamer for 25 years. You want to know one thing that is true about online gaming, which has been confirmed by many people who play Fortnite? You cannot change your username to a name that already exists. You cannot change let me repeat again for the people who don't play video games, who are watching this. When you have an online account, you cannot change your name to an account that already exists. So if, as they see the acknowledge here, the fact that Little ST Jeff, that may stand for sane, the fact that this account exists, and if Jeffrey Epstein is dead, obviously Epstein is not around to change the name of his account. So the only way that would be possible if Epstein changed the name of his account first, then someone changed their name to Imminent Epstein. That did not happen. And why didn't you specify who is the previous account? It's that important to know who's playing this massive prank on the international community, on humanity. Wouldn't you say, hey man, this account used to be named Harry Balls 201. Harry Balls 201 changed his name to Little ST Jeff. Wouldn't you release that? Isn't that important information to like completely make clear that what you're saying is true? Secondly, what they're implying here is that this guy is playing a prank. He's playing a ruse on humanity. He wanted to have a chuckle. He wanted to laugh because he saw the Epstein files. They saw that Jeffrey Epstein used to use this name in the game. So he managed to hack the system and change his name to the same name that Epstein have, despite the fact that that's not even possible. So this guy goes through all this effort, including buying a VPN, because the account was located in Israel, in Tel Aviv. So in order to pull off this stunt, this guy bought a VPN, assuming they're not Israeli, which is possible. But the chances are, just statistically speaking, they changed their location to Tel Aviv, and they did all this stuff just to get attention, Then they decided to set their profile to private. If you was pulling a prank and you want to get attention, why would you set your profile to private after doing this? It was also revealed how the entire history of the account was completely wiped out. Did I show you guys this? I don't know if I went out of order. I need to find this receipt. So after people dug him, the reason why I'm showing you guys screenshots is because people screenshot all his purchases and the dates. Because once it started spreading, the account was wiped clean. The entire internet history was wiped clean. Everything about the account was wiped clean once everyone started discovering this. So if this was a prank done by someone, why would they lock their account and why would they wipe all their history clean? I guess it's possible. But this story from Fortnite doesn't add up. And it says we have no record of the subject's email addresses referenced in the public document existing in the Epic account system. What are you talking about? I'm going to show you guys why this is bullshit here soon. Since the public document releases, people have created Fortnite accounts with similar looking addresses and username. Is it similar looking or is it actually the same? It didn't take long for everyone on Twitter to call this bullshit out. Because they said there was no record of email address referenced in the public document existing in Epic's account system. What is this? This is one of the charges. $25.95 was charged for V-Bucks on Fortnite. So in response to this panic message by Fortnite that someone definitely told them to put up, people like, bro, hold up. We've seen the screenshot, dipshit. If you have no record of his email, then your records are incomplete, given the records show his email tied to V-Bucks purchases. I find this a 0% credibility score. Now, once again, I'm here to lay out the facts. I'm not buying this shit, but it's your guys' right as an audience viewer. I'm not telling you guys how to think. If you believe Fortnite, for whatever reason, that's okay. If you're not buying what I'm selling you guys, I'm here to lay out all the information. I'm not trying to hide anything from you guys. I'm here to put together a conspiracy theory. I'm not saying it's a conspiracy law. I'm not saying that it's guaranteed that Epstein is playing Fortnite in Tel Aviv, but I'm leaning like a 90% chance that he did. That's me. Oh yeah, by the way, if this was someone that is engaging in a scam and engaging in a prank, this motherfucker was really playing the long game, wasn't he? Because remember when I explained how this Fortnite account was not active in 2019? So very interesting that this foreign account that apparently had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein also just so happened to take a break the year that Jeffrey Epstein was imprisoned. Isn't that interesting? I'm sure it's a coincidence. I'm sure it's one of those happenings that Michael Parenti was talking about. That thing just happens, guys. Those things just happen. Come on, Nick. Stop asking questions. Yeah, and it's not going with like they try to blame Russia for Epstein. I think I got more clips on that. I debunked a little bit of that on my last stream. But Epstein literally says he worked for the Rothschilds. It's been confirmed that he's a Mossad asset. But the most propagandized people in the world being told that it's Russia. Let me read some comments. I'm actually interested in seeing what you guys have to say, and I'm gonna show you guys some responses. I want to read some responses to see if there's any arguments that I missed. But yeah, don't make fun of my alias. Epstein was a pedo and a dork. Hey man, nothing dorky about playing video games, guys. Nothing dorky about it. Video games is like watching TV, but actually more engaging. You gotta know that studies show that video games slow your aging process, and especially high strategy video games like ones I like to play. It also increases IQ. It also increases brain functionality. Yeah, that's a good one, my friend. It increases like brain functionality for older people. Like it makes them stay sharper. So yeah, gamers, we age slower than you guys. That's just cope. I'm just coping. I have fun with you guys. Yeah, I'm sorry, the game once is on 4 or 5. So I'm also a dork, yeah. The games I play is hard as fuck, fam. What was that? I'm trying to read some comments because I haven't been reading any comments on the stream. I want to see what you guys think. I wonder if you guys agree with me or not agree with me. Good news for me then. I play a ton of games. I want to see if I can find that receipt. I know we're getting a little off topic. Gaming increases brain cognitive function. And I play games like Shin Megami Tensei, intense strategy games. Like, I love playing intense strategy games. And I still maintain that me beating like these hard-ass games that require a ton of thinking is the reason why I can think so quick on the fly. Is the reason why I'm good at pattern recognition. Like strategy, tactical games is really crazy. Like, they got like digital chess everywhere. But anyway, this is not about gaming. Hand-eye coordination on point. Sorry, I'm just taking a few seconds. I need to do that more often. I want to read more chats, but you guys know I get in my ranting streak. I start going crazy, and I forget all about the chat for sometimes. Yeah, Epstein wanted to overthrow Putin. Big shout out to my friend Bryce Smith. Zoya's love. Zoya's life indeed. Zoya's the GOAT. You guys just don't understand. I really need everyone to understand that Zoya's the goddamn GOAT. How would he even know Epstein's username to change into? I think Fortnite can probably look into the history of name changes, but wouldn't they release what account it used to be? Right? Yeah, Gizlane was also a super mod. Also a Reddit super mod. I heard of it, but I never played Civilization. Yeah, I heard of it though. This is a good counterpoint. But Nick, they told us that IQ is BS hate science, so how can gaming increase IQ? And not gaming increases IQ, it's cognitive function. Didn't I say that? I might have missed. Like, this is what I meant. I believe that IQ is bullshit too. I went on many rants about how IQ is bullshit. IQ is slang. I use IQ as slang for intelligence, but no one actually should believe that IQ is a real thing. If you believe that there's just one standardized test, there's a method to accommodate for someone's intelligence, despite the many different strands of intelligence that actually exist, you're unironically low IQ. You're low IQ if you believe IQ is real, because there are a lot of different. Yeah, I don't think I said IQ either, but I still read this pushback just in case I did. This is what I meant. Video gaming may be associated with better cognitive function in children. Well, it's not the exact study I mentioned. I saw one that said, well, there's like a ton of these. Like, it's not like just one study. At this point, there have been multiple studies across multiple platforms about this. Yeah, IQ is absolutely not real. I explained this before, but IQ is trash because it doesn't take in account the wide spectrum of what is considered intelligence. It is Western, it's intelligence with Western capitalist bias, which it tests for a very narrow it tests for a very narrow set of skills that ploppable to Western society, and it doesn't cover life as a whole. What I use to explain is, I don't know if that was a great definition of why I think it's bullshit. But for example, there are a lot of like high IQ, quote unquote high IQ computer science nerds who score like crazy with math and all this stuff. Like, you think about the typical extremely high IQ nerd, but there are people who are high IQ nerds who struggle with dating. they struggle with attracting women. You guys know them high IQ, lonely virgins. But isn't attracting a mate the ability to engage in one of the most important acts that we can possibly engage in, reproduction, marriage, relationships, and your ability to manage that? Isn't that a sign of a certain kind of intelligence? Isn't that social intelligence? That you need intelligence to know how to have conversations with people. For public speaking is another example. Public speaking is a skill. I used to be horrible at public speaking. Public speaking is a skill, but there are people who are quote unquote high IQ that is horrible at public speaking. There are these people who are high IQ that are virgins and they can't get laid. Doesn't that take a certain level of intelligence to do that? One last thing I'll say that debunks IQ as a whole, because as I mentioned, IQ is full of Western bias. Like, isn't the ability to survive part of your IQ? Because I'm sure there are people in African tribes in Africa, people in the global South, who have survival skills. Like, if you drop them in a forest somewhere, they will be able to survive. But a high IQ nerd who live in the suburbs their entire life, if you drop them in an Amazon forest or any wilderness, for example, would they be able to survive? I'm not saying that their ability to survive is important, because I'm not one of these IQ conspiracy theorists. But isn't survival skills a part of that? Like, because the indigenous population in the United States, if you test them, I bet you they will be tested as low IQ based on standard IQ tests. But no one knows better on how to survive in the wilderness in North America than the indigenous populations centuries ago. So isn't it like the ability to survive a form of intelligence or quote unquote IQ? Those are just two examples. I can go on this all day, but I'm getting kind of derailed. So yeah, I think that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, there's like different IQs and level of intelligence for different skills. As a martial artist, I took up fighting very easily, because fighting is actually a chess game. If you don't know that it's chess, it's because you don't know anything about fighting. Everything you do in fighting is a chess move. Where you step forward, where you throw a jab, where you lean to the right, whether you lean to the left. When you watch a high-level boxing match, when you watch a match between like a Floyd Mayweather and a Manny Pacquiao, if you don't know what you're watching, you'll be lost, because it's actually a high-level chess game that Floyd Mayweather is playing with his opponents, and he checkmated every single one of them. But Floyd Mayweather is probably low IQ. The motherfucker can't even read. Meanwhile, there are a ton of very smart, high IQ people. If you put a boxing glove on them and show them how to defend themselves, they will look like a fucking retard. Sorry, I don't mean to use a slur here. I just want to make my point. So isn't it the ability to defend yourself? Shouldn't that be a valid form of intelligence as well? I don't know. I can go on this all day. I can dismantle the idea of IQ for all day. This is why I say, if you believe that there's just one standardized way to test intelligence, that you are inherently low IQ. You are unironically low IQ if you believe IQ is real. If you guys ever hear me use IQ, I use it mostly as slang. I think it's cool to use IQ as slang for intelligence. I do that all the time. I would say, "Oh, you're a low IQ motherfucker." That's slang, essentially. All right. So now we're talking about IQ for a second. I want to cover a little bit of Iran. I can't do a long. I didn't plan on doing a long stream, but I definitely got to cover Iran. I think we got mostly into the Epstein killed himself story. This is the Fortnite explanation. Let me know if you guys buy that. If you're in the chat, you don't have to agree with everything I say, because there are a lot of people who think this is a legitimate explanation. There are a lot of people like, "Oh man, I thought Epstein was alive until Fortnite said he's not." Now I believe that Epstein is dead. So if you believe Fortnite over me, that's okay. If I wasn't able to convince you of my theory, that's my fault. I think it's okay if you believe Fortnite here. But I'm telling you guys right now, I believe this is absolute bullshit. Absolute and utter bullshit. This is my response. If it was a prank by that Fortnite player, why did their account go private? Didn't they want attention for doing this? This is the point I made earlier. And they're not, if you realize these responses, A lot of people are not, at least the people who've been on this theory for a while, we're not satisfied with the answer. Look, right. No one believes this shit. If you believe Fortnite's explanation, there's probably a good chance you believe Epstein killed himself in the first place. I believe you, Nick. Fuck Fortnite. Yeah, IQ is more race science. Yeah, people want the ruling class wants you to believe that IQ is real because they want you to believe that they're their masters. They want you to believe that people like Elon Musk and Bill Gates and the capitalist class have the right to lord over us because they have higher IQ than us. And go back to the day where the ruling class wanted to convince the peasants that they was ordained by God. To me, it's the same thing. Yeah, IQ tests are biased because they ask cultural questions that only Western people would know. Absolutely. I think that's probably the best way to describe why it's bullshit. Because then the racist Nazis like, oh, don't you see they have low IQ in India and Africa or whatever? They're like, look at the low IQ in Africa. Look at the low IQ in Brazil. Like, nigga, what you guys asking questions that no one in Africa should know or give a fuck about. You know what I mean? So I think it's a good point. All right, let's move on. I don't want to show you guys comments just to justify my position. You guys can think whatever you want. I'm not here to propaganda. You guys, I tell you, I'm not here to propagandize you guys. You guys can come up with any position you want. I'm gonna continue to spread my unapologetic, tanky propaganda, my unapologetic working class propaganda. If you believe it, you believe it. Great. So this can be a 2-segment stream today. I've been putting up a lot of bangers for you guys this week, man. I told you, we've been eating good. We've been eating good this week as a community. If you've been enjoying my stream, make sure you please like, share, support me on Patreon. Let's get to something a little bit more serious. You guys know we always got to cover geopolitics. And there's a high likelihood that the war in Iran may start this weekend. They are going through highly intensive negotiations. And just to illustrate just how incoherent the position of the United States is, the United States claimed last year that they destroyed Iran's nuclear facility and the ability to create a nuke. And now they're threatening to go to war with Iran because they say Iran may have a nuclear weapon. So which one is it? And also, if he was worried about the proliferation of nuclear weapons, why did Donald Trump allow the nuclear treaty with Russia to expire? You guys know that one of the longest standing nuclear treaties between Russia and the United States was just expired. So if it was all about like fighting against countries who have nuclear programs, why would you do that? Why would you go after Israel, who 100% have a nuke and were caught testing nuclear weapons underground on their territory? So I'm going to cover this story through the lens. I'm going to show you guys some corporate propaganda. Also, I'm going to take a quick break myself. But as I take this quick break to get something to drink, use the restroom, that kind of stuff, I'm going to let this propaganda video play, and I'll come back, and we're going to dismantle this and discuss Iran. I also have a story on Cuba. We'll get here very soon. Hopefully we have time for that. But let me start with this, and I'll be right back, and I'll see you guys on the other side.
Let's get right to MS Now senior national security reporter David Rode. Michael Weiss is with us, editor of The Insider, and foreign policy expert Hagar Shamali. She's also the former spokesperson for the U.S. mission to the UN. So, David, the next step likely is for a special envoy and Jared Kushner to brief the president or his administration, right? What do we know about what came of these talks at this point?
We know very little. The announcement that the talks had finished actually came from the Iranian government officials. There are no reporters traveling with Jared Kushner or Steve Witkoff, so we don't know what was discussed. That's unusual. If Marco Rubio was there, you'd expect there to be some American reporters. So we don't know. And this is a critical meeting. I mean, there's concerns in Washington that the president is sort of eager to carry out strikes on Iran. He wanted to do it before there weren't enough forces in the region. And so there needs to be another round, I think, for any serious progress to occur here.
And just before these talks this week, Michael, we've been talking about this drone that was shot down as it approached a U.S. aircraft carrier in the region. And then President Trump made these comments saying that the supreme leader in Iran should be very worried. What kind of backdrop did that set for these talks today? Was it intentional to be extra provocative from each side?
I think so. I mean, he likes to sort of play this sort of dramatic game, will I or won't I, right? And there is a prevailing sort of school of thought that using the media to kind of speculate about his intentions and to kind of have these diplomatic tracks going in the background is a good distraction for him to actually get down to whatever kinetic operation he's planning. You know, the Iranians too seem to be aware that it's likely that something militarily is going to take place, and that's why they're kind of playing their own games. Originally, these talks were going to take place in Turkey. They said, no, we don't want to do that. Let's do Oman.
Now, why does that matter so much?
For them, it's the optics, right? They want to be on what they consider to be neutral ground, and Turkey would be seen as it's a NATO ally. Obviously, the Turks don't want to see the United States go to war with Iran, nor do any of the Gulf states, for that matter. That's been a big concerted push that I think they're leaning on.
Yeah, by the way, every single Gulf state have been putting pressure on Trump, and Saudi Arabia told Trump that, hey, man, if you go to war with Iran, we will allow Iran to target United States bases on our territory. Well, I'm gonna see if I can find that. I saw that on Twitter. I'm gonna fact check that. I saw someone on Twitter post that U.S. bases. The reason why they don't want this war, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is the receipt I'm looking for, but I do think this is interesting. Let me turn the Fox News ad off here. Come on, man. If I can get the thing to work.
But first, we go to Chief National Security Correspondent Jennifer Gray.
All right. Actually, I'm just read the headline from here. It says Saudis won't let the United States, because God, people they wonder why no one fucking go to their damn website. It's horrible. Saudis won't let the United States use their bases or airspace for attack on Iran. I'm trying to find this. I swear I read something earlier where Saudi Arabia was like, bro, we're not going to do anything to stop Iran from attacking you. Yeah, this is why people are worried, because Iran,
the region is holding its collective
Saudi Arabia was strike U.S. targets. Maybe you guys can find. I'm struggling finding my receipt on this, so I'll just put up there in the air that I saw how even Saudi Arabia and Qatar was like, bro, we're not helping y'all. If y'all do this stupid shit, we're not helping you, motherfuckers. But maybe I can find a receipt later. Let's get back to the segment, because this is essentially a segment, and right now they're kind of presenting the news side of it, but later they're gonna bring on a guest that is unapologetically pushing for war with Iran. So let's continue this.
On Witkoff in particular, the Qataris, which have a very good relationship with Steve Witkoff. Please don't do this. Let's have a diplomatic solution. But I think the Iranians kind of see the writing on the wall. You know, one thing about Donald Trump, this is a guy who campaigned and decided to be the president who was going to be the anti-Obama, right? And we all remember the red line in Syria. Mm-hmm. Trump has this preternatural fear of looking weak or kind of submissive in any way. So I think the threat of a military campaign almost has its own momentum now, right? And he may not want to do it himself, but I think the overriding impetus here, and the Israelis are certainly putting pressure on him, you should do it.
The who is putting pressure on him? Maybe that's just maybe if you was actually a journalist, that'd be something that you would analyze. Why is the Israeli state putting so much pressure on the United States president? Why is he listening to Benjamin Netanyahu and his demands to create a war with Iran? But this is more the news part of it. This is more than just discussing the issue to their audience. You can see the bias there. Even the point about weakness. He he don't want to be seen as weak like Barack Obama. You guys see how the deranged neocon thinks? To me, weakness is millions of people being homeless in your country. To me, weakness is the majority of the American people despising you and your government. Weakness is the average American being one emergency away from financial ruin. Weakness is a population that can't even exist without taking antidepressants. You gotta see how they view strength as, oh man, look at all the countries we can bomb. Look at all the people we can terrorize. Donald Trump, he don't want to come off as weak. He's not a pussy. I'm not a pussy. I'm a gangster. I tell you guys, I view these people as no different than Crips and Bloods and suits. You know what I mean? They like to think themselves more sophisticated. This is a point I've put on my channel so many times. They like to view themselves as extremely sophisticated. They're sophisticated in their violence. No, you're no different than a street gangbanger. You just got more fucking power. The same. I used to hear hood rats. The way that hood rats talk is the same way that you guys talk. The hood rats I used to grow up with, they're like, man, I ain't no fucking pussy. I'll fuck anyone up. I ain't fucking soft. Meanwhile, our world leaders be like, we don't want to show weakness on the global stage. That's the same thing. Now let's continue. I want to show you guys the more, because they are discussing the news angle of this year. They're going to get to the propaganda side here. I want to break that down. Let's continue this.
Well, and he has done it. This administration has already gone after Iran and its nuclear sites specifically. But Hagar, all of kind of the latest action was sparked after the protesters were being killed inside Iran. And that is not at the core of today's talks. In fact, that was reportedly left off.
Look at this fake ass bullshit. This is why the United States is the most propagandized people in the world. You know where they're not listening here? What about all the mosques that they burned down? What about all the public infrastructure that was murdered? What about the hundreds, and I mean like 400 to 500 Iranian police officers that was murdered? What about the fact that the Mossad openly bragged about sending weapons and they had bounties on public officials? And these numbers are completely unconfirmed. Human rights activist news agency, the fuck is that? How would they have access to these numbers? We know that there was a lot of death and destruction because it was a Mossad takeover attempt of the Iranian state. They was attacking anyone who supported the Iranian regime. They was engaging in violence as a means to destabilize the Iranian state before the United States strikes. It wasn't a protest meant to lead to an uprising of the proletariat. You had a fake-ass crown prince promoted by Israel that was essentially begging the United States to bomb their country. So the whole point of this protest, these protests, was to weaken the state, was to kill as many public officials as possible before the West come in. It was an obvious Mossad operations. We know that because they admitted it. Meanwhile, they're running these fake-ass numbers. But let's continue. Because now they're going to really ratchet up the propaganda. And here is where MSNBC is unapologetically cheering for war with Iran. And this is the resistance. They're the quote-unquote resistance movement. You know how they're doing that? You know what the messaging they're using to convince the American people that we should go to war with Iran? They were using the same schoolyard hood rat talk that we were just talking about. Hey, Donald Trump said that he would bomb Iran. He would do something if Iran kills his protesters. And Iran killed protesters. So what are you going to do, Trump? What are you, a pussy? Are you not going to do Trump? You're not going to do anything, Trump, you fucking pussy. That doesn't show that you're soft. And that is how they're attacking Trump right now. They're attacking Trump as being someone who's not a man of his word. You promised us you would bomb Iran. So where are the bombs? I'm dead serious. There's the argument that MSNBC, the resistance liberal media, is making right now.
Inside Iran. And that is not at the core of today's talks. In fact, that was reportedly left off the table for these talks to happen. What message does that send to the regime and the Iranian people?
Sure, in my opinion, it's an awful message to send because it basically says that no matter what the Iranian regime does, there could always still be the opportunity for some kind of talks, or that this regime is still on the level of one that could be negotiated with because of it.
Let's see how they're demonizing the idea of peace talks. Even using the neocon framing, let's say they're like, man, even if we are able to convince Iran to concede to one of our demands, that's not a good plan because it shows that the Iranian regime will never do anything that will force the United States to bomb them. You guys see how dismayed they are at the concept of peace talks? What does it say if peace talks, if you are consistently against peace talks, the Biden administration against peace talks in Gaza because it will benefit Hamas, the same way they are against peace talks in Ukraine because it benefit Putin, and now liberals are saying they're against peace talks in Iran because it will legitimize the Iranian regime. This lady here, She's batshit crazy, and she came on MSNBC to advocate for war. She wants you to believe that she cares about the Iranian people by completely destabilizing their country and creating a civil war and regional war that will lead to the death of millions and displace millions more. But MSNBC wants you to believe that this person cares about the lives of Iranians. Let's listen, because she gets even more batshit crazy as we continue.
In my opinion, it's an awful message to send, because it basically says that no matter what the Iranian regime does, there could always still be the opportunity for some kind of talks, or that this regime is still on the level of one that could be negotiated with because of its ostensible nuclear program. The fact is that we already struck their nuclear program quite heavily. The fact that these talks would focus only on the nuclear program, first of all, by the way, strategically makes no sense. Not only because we obliterated most of it, but also because ballistic missiles would be the real concern here at this point in time. The Iranian regime, while we don't want them to get a nuclear weapon, they're not close to that at this stage. And that said, again, if they are massacring their people to thousands, and then that is what initiated Trump's response for potential military action, but then the message is, oh, we're going to negotiate, let's talk about your nuclear program. It also stabs the Iranian people in the back, and it makes the Iranian regime.
So according to this neocon psychopath, Donald Trump is stabbing the Iranian people in the back because he's not bombing their country. You guys see, bro, I could never be on the same team with these psychopaths. You guys hear what she said? That's the argument that she made. Donald Trump is stabbing the Iranian people in the back by not bombing their country. Once again, ignoring the protests that dwarf the fake-ass protests of Iranians coming out in support of their government. A massive country where many of them are divided. Many of them have legitimate criticism of their government. But you guys see how white liberals in the West is calling for mass death and suffering of the Iranian people? And if the United States doesn't deliver that mass death and suffering in order to implement regime change, that will be Donald Trump betraying the Iranian people. And you guys see the point that she made earlier, when she exposes the United States' attempt to wage war with Iran is bullshit, because Iran is not even trying to pursue a nuclear weapon, which many people think is one of their biggest mistakes. One of the reasons why they're victim of this aggression is because they legitimately don't want a nuclear weapon. Many of the religious leaders, Kalamani, many of them said that nuclear weapons go against their doctrine of Islam. They view it as heresy. They view it as a great crime against God to commit a nuclear weapon. And I can respect that. But many people mentioned that the DPRK, they didn't limit themselves like that. And that's why they're not fucking with the DPRK. And she brings up something very important, how, hey, the ballistic missiles are not even on the table. And of course they wouldn't be on the table. You want to know why ballistic missiles are not on the table? Because they are crucial for Iranian self-defense. But it also shows that the Iranians, they don't want a nuclear weapon. This is what I've been saying. This is what anti-imperialists have been saying. This is why there are clips of Benjamin Netanyahu advocating for us going to war with Iran for decades. In 1999, Benjamin Netanyahu was saying, hey, man, Iran is like 2 days away from getting a nuclear weapon. Then you have to understand, they are opposed to nuclear weapons in a religious way. Like, the Iranian public is opposed to it. This is why the whole fear-mongering over them attaining a nuclear weapon was bullshit. And this is why the Zionist regime had a meltdown when Obama signed the nuclear deal. The nuclear deal was great for Iran because it allowed the message to be sent wide and clear that, hey, man, we're not trying to achieve a nuclear weapon. We are just using nuclear energy for civilian use. You guys can monitor our nuclear sites. And they did. And when they allowed the monitoring of nuclear sites, Iran always passed their nuclear threshold every single time. That's why there was backlash when Donald Trump pulled out the Iran nuclear deal, because Iran was compliant to this nuclear deal because it was against it. And then you don't get a nuclear Iran that benefits the West and the United States empire. It was a situation where everyone wins. But in a situation where everyone wins, the Israelis don't get their war.
In the situation where everyone wins, the Zionist regime don't have a legitimate claim for why they need to go to war with Iran. So they manufacture a crisis about how Iran wants to develop nuclear weapons and how they are an immediate threat to the United States. No, they're only a threat to the United States the second that you hypothetically pull out of these nuclear agreements. Because if you want to believe that neocon talking point, the second that you pull out that nuclear agreement, why would Iran not achieve a nuclear weapon? That means you had to go to war with them. The best thing you would do, even if you believe in the neocon lies, is to come up with these nuclear treaties, which the United States have not done. Which goes to the point I made earlier, that if the United States really care about nuclear proliferation of their enemies, why did they pull out the nuclear arm treaty with Russia? But I think I ran it enough. I'm gonna show you guys this part one more time. I thought it was funny. This is what Here's the clip I posted on Twitter. Essentially, MSNBC begging for war, and she accused Trump of being a pussy who reneged on his promises to the Iranian people. Let's listen to this one more time, and then we read some super chats and wrap
to
up.
get a nuclear weapon. They're not close to that at this stage. And that said, again, if they are massacring their people to thousands, and then that is what initiated Trump's response for potential military action, but then the message is, oh, we're going to negotiate, let's talk about your nuclear program. It also stabs the Iranian people in the back, and it makes the Iranian regime feel, again, that they can do whatever they want. They can massacre and torture and kill their people.
Come on,
ultimately, the nuclear power is what gives them that seat at the table. It is the wrong message.
I mean, to your point,
it's the wrong message to try to avoid regional war. You guys realize that this is being played on the quote-unquote resistance network? Is there any doubt how Kamala Harris will handle Iran? And remember, Kamala Harris was repeating the same talking points Donald Trump in the neocon class is repeating now, because her AIPAC handler boyfriend, her AIPAC handler husband, that she married to send the Zionist regime a message that she was on board, he told Kamala Harris, hey man, you say this. And Kamala Harris said that she would do everything she can to stop Iran from achieving nuclear weapons, which is a tell that she would engage in the same bullshit strategy. Do you guys think Kamala Harris would have stopped the Mossad color revolution attempt in Iran? We will see the same thing. And that's why it saddens me to see the same Overton window cycle happening again. Because I told you guys last year that, yeah, Democrats seem down now, but it's only a matter of time before the Republican Party rehabilitate them. It's only a matter of time before Donald Trump lets his own people down. And Democrats are being rehabilitated by the madness of Donald Trump. The fact that he's a pedophile protector. The ruling class always up the ante and make it seem worse. And Democrats are being rehabilitated. A lot of people think that this party won't do this insane, crazy shit. They absolutely will. And seeing this coverage from the quote-unquote resistance opposition network should be clear that the decision made by the empire to support genocide and never-ending war is a bipartisan thing, and that's not going to change based on who sits in that puppet throne known as the presidency. Also, isn't it interesting, if Kamala Harris won, we wouldn't have received any of the Epstein files. It's something else to remember. Yeah, I think we can wrap up here. I already went way longer than I planned. I only want to do an hour, but we've been eating good. I had my 3-hour live stream on Monday, 90-minute live stream with my friend Sarah from DDG. You guys know we always in the lab cooking. So if you guys appreciate my work, if you appreciate my live streams, please support me on Patreon. I have the link in the description. If you're working class, only like $3-4 would need to support my labor, because these streams are a lot of work to put together. Only like my business model, I need a small donation from my homies. So only $2-3 a month is the way to support my journalism. Also sharing my streams, liking my streams, helping me beat the algorithm that hates my ass. That's a big part of helping my channel grow. And we've been growing big, man. I think our politics have been vindicated. Tankies have been vindicated. I'm seeing liberal accounts that realize that now, like, they're following me now. MAGA accounts are following me. Like, our presence is starting to blow up. I'm much bigger on X than I am on YouTube. But our politics is slowly is gaining legitimacy, guys. We've been right every step of the way, and we're the only ones who actually have a revolutionary solution. We're the ones demanding people to get in the streets. We're the ones who calling for justice for the
against the pedophile capitalist elite. We're the one organizing mutual aids. We're the ones building parties. We're the one building connections. I'm building connections with Shama Sawant, the ACP. Rome has the CARE Party. We have multiple mutual aid organizations in RBN. This is the future of the left. Now is the time to get activated. Do not be numbed by the nihilism that comes from the DSA left, that believes in capitalist realism, that capitalism will always be here. There's nothing that we can do against the ruling class. So the best thing we can do is surrender to the tranquilizing drug known as electoral politics and accept the very small, I was about to say incremental change, but not even incremental change. You're not even getting that. You're selling your soul to a genocidal regime for the illusion of incremental change. And many people on the left is starting to realize that it's bullshit. So I know we are suppressed. I know our communities still need to grow. But fam, it's coming. It's coming, my friends. We are only getting more legitimacy every single day. So we're on the rise. Tankies are the future. Tankies are rising. RBN is rising. I appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend. I'll see you guys next.